Hello, and thank you for connecting with me. My name is Janet M. Taylor. I am an organizing expert with over 28 years' experience helping people organize their homes, their offices, their time, and their life. And I am excited to have Dr. Wendy Coulson here because she's going to talk to us about the My Body Passport, which I've got two. I've got this one was just on my refrigerator, but then this is my little travel version, which I'll tell you about a little bit later. Dr. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Janet.
And of course, before we get started, I have to give you a little bit of background information, so I'm going to read her bio. As an engineer, Dr. Wendy Coulson creates solutions to complex problems. Dr. Wendy invented a way to fill the gap in personal health knowledge and needed partners with specific expertise. She pitched her idea for the My Body Passport to her sister Laura, a family medicine. She's a doctor of family medicine, and then to her brother Andrew, a data strategist, to form the personal health record dream team. Together, they created the most accurate, comprehensive, and useful way to keep track of your health. Wendy's goal is to help people and their friends and families improve health habits, with the result being measurable benefits and health outcomes worldwide. And of course, I first met Dr. Wendy 5 years ago when I got, of course, see, I just love this, my version of the My Body Passport. So, Dr. Wendy, so first, take us back to what made you really decide to really get this started and create it.
Well, I was out driving around and I got a phone call from a friend of mine, and he said, "Wendy, can you meet me at the emergency room?" And I was already out. I said, "Okay, I'll head over there." By the time I got there, he had been administered morphine, and so, which was necessary with what was going on with him. So I go into the room. He's on morphine. We're sitting there chatting, and in walks one of the administrators with this cart and all this paperwork. And they said, "Would you mind filling this in?" And so we start filling it in. Name, got it. Address, got it. Medications, I don't know. I don't know what medications he's on. Um, Health history, family history, I don't know. Last time he went to the doctor, I don't know. I don't know anything. Excuse me. And so I realized at that moment that there's this gap. There's this gap in knowledge, that I you mentioned in the bio, that I identified this gap, and I thought, well, how often does this happen? So my first call to my sister, who practices family medicine, and I said, I told her what had just happened, and I said, how often does this happen? And she said, all the time. And I said, you know what? Let me just put my brain cells together and just see what I can work with to create something so that for myself and my friend and then everyone else, it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to be in the dark. We don't have to be at a doctor going, I don't know. I don't know. It was I don't know. I had that test, or it's a green pill, or I don't know. And so there's no reason for us to be that vague when it comes. It's our bodies. They're miraculous, and so for the things we can keep track of, I wanted to create a tool, and I'm very fortunate that the experts in my life were willing to help me from the medical perspective to make it accurate, comprehensive, up to date. And then as a data strategist, my brother was able to work very diligently to make it a very user-friendly, person-centered, book with normal language in it, and things that people like you and I can just understand. And so that was the real motivation. And as I started putting it together, I realized there's so many other applications beyond the emergency room. But that really gave me the desire to put all the effort into crafting these books.
And it is comprehensive. And I think what I love about it is that I no longer have to remember certain things. I can just put it in the book because I would always have, when you go to the doctor and you haven't been maybe in a year or 6 months, and they start asking you all these questions, and it's like, well, I know I had it. I don't remember the date. And, sometimes, like, you had mentioned in another video where sometimes information is not uploaded to the portal. Specifically, sometimes when you're going from doctor to test to doctor to test, all of this stuff is not updated in time for when you have that appointment. So, I mean, that's why I love it. It's like I take this, I sit there while the doctor is, booting up her computer, and then she's asking me certain things, and then I can ask her a question about things. If I, like you said, the numbers, I really like that numbers feature because that really makes me be more proactive, specifically because, with the parents with the high blood pressure, I'm always looking at that. And I'm just kind of looking at, even with just, over the past few years, I've been looking at just my weight. And even though I'm small, but I've noticed an increase, and it made me realize why my doctor made the comment. She's like, Janet, I just want you to watch it. And I'm thinking, well, what's wrong with me gaining weight? Because I'm thin. But then I realized if I've been thin all my life, then my body is going through some changes internally. And is it impacting my heart and other areas? So, I can't say enough about this book, Wendy, as you can see. And it's on my refrigerator. I've told my friends where it is. And I also like the fact that I have in there that, I have my iodine allergy and, of course, my allergy to shellfish as well. And I'm able to put that in this book. So,
Yeah, so you mentioned you keep it on your fridge, and so one of the things people ask me is where do I keep it? So this one, the second edition, it comes in a plastic sleeve that has magnets on it. So it literally can just right there. It can just be lodged on your fridge. That's its home. When you go to the doctor, you can just grab it and go to the doctor and come home and put it back. If something happens in your home, emergency first responders are trained to look on the fridge. So they'll see this and realize it's a medical information book, which is important if you live alone or, people aren't home very often. If something happens and no one is there to explain anything, this can speak for you. If you have the adventure, people say, well, where do I keep this? Well, if you are traveling internationally, it's passport size, so you can keep it right with your actual passport. I keep mine when I'm just around town or in domestic trips. I just keep mine right in my purse or in my sling or in my backpack. I just pop it around with me like my keys, the whole keys, wallet, phone, my body passport. So it's just adding that, my body passport. So you just keep it with you, and it's just handy to have. So that's one question, one nuts and bolts. Where do I keep it?
and, and I
Another,
like the way you mentioned. I like the way you mentioned how to travel because one of the things that I'm going to do, Wendy, is because I'm supposed to be taking a international trip in about another year. I'm and we're traveling as a group. I'm going to make sure that everybody in that group has one of these, and I'm going to make sure that it's with their passport, but also that it's completely filled out, or
right,
if by the time we at least are on the plane, and if not, I'm going to go around. Well, I may not be able to be that mobile, but I'm going to make sure that everybody has it filled out by the time we land, because I
yeah,
think even though everybody's healthy that I know of, but there may be other things that I don't know of. I don't know about allergies, or I don't know, definitely don't know about medications for anybody. So this is going to really help us, have a wonderful trip and be prepared. And I think this is what the smaller version, it makes you be prepared for just anything. And one of the things that I've been hearing, and maybe you can explain this to me, is it's called, I think, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, it's Gramping.
yeah, yeah. I've heard of that also. So apparently, grandparents are now having outings with their grandchildren where they go camping, and so they call it gramping. And when I heard about that, I thought, oh, that's fantastic. How wonderful to have that intergenerational experience out in nature. Like everything about it sounds great. And then I thought, except if something happens to grandpa while he's out with young Generation Z teenager or even adolescent. And that's a case of preparation would change is a game changer. So if grandpa has this filled out and just tells granddaughter or grandson, hey, if anything happens, you need to look at this. If not, it doesn't matter. And then everybody, if it was my children and my parents heading out, that would give me peace of mind that if anything happens, and likewise for the young kid, most children are not on any medications or have any conditions, but there are special needs that this is perfect for people who may or may not uh, be able to speak at certain times. If you have autism, sometimes you can be set off by light and sound and become nonverbal. So this is very good for that they don't need to be verbal. You could have other types of chronic conditions. Again, I think what we don't realize, Janet, is we are walking around and most of us have some sort of a condition.
Hmm.
And that condition isn't necessarily manifesting itself most of the time, but when it does, we may be nonverbal, we may be, just can't move. Who knows what might happen? But
And yeah.
this is a way to provide that peace of mind.
And you're right, because I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking, some people have peanut allergies. Some people have allergies to the latex gloves. It's so many different things.
Yeah,
As I've
yeah,
shared, I've got sometimes allergies to just the iodine that you put in when you're trying to take
right,
certain tests. So, it's all of those things, like you said. You just don't know sometimes with your family or
right.
your friends, those things as well. So, I was
Yeah,
just,
and I while we're in this nuts and bolts kind of mind frame, another question I get asked is where do I start? And that is what your friends, when you make sure they have them for your trip, they might say, hey Janet, like, where do I start? And the answer is you can start on any page. You can start anywhere. um, we put in on this one, we've got a how my body passport works, and it's just a 4-step, basically get started. It's simple. You can start on any page. So the other thing to note is you won't need to fill in every page because it doesn't necessarily apply to your body. So you can start anywhere and fill in what pertains to you. So those are kind of two nuts and bolts. And then a third nuts and bolts type of thing is we worked really hard to make it as check a box as possible. So I'm just going to put this right here. This is for allergies.
okay.
And across the top, we've got typical medication allergies like aspirin, codeine, morphine, ibuprofen. Down this, we've got the symptoms. It could be anaphylaxis, which is fatal. It could be swelling. It could be hives. But all you have to do is check the box that applies to your body.
Mm.
That's all. So there's no writing in, I've got hives, or with this one, you just check the box. And then that's the essence of how we created this, so that you as a user can just be checking more boxes and not writing as much, and therefore keep it current. Be happy to have it with you because you've had that experience of just checking or updating and keeping it very relevant to you.
And I like that, because as you were talking, it gave me ideas. So I don't overwhelm the women on my trip. I'll just tell them, if you could just write down if you're on any medications, if you have any allergies, and if you would like to let us know if you've had any surgeries, because as usually those are the questions they ask when it's an emergency. When do you have any surgeries? What medications are you on? Do you have any? That's it. You don't have to put anything else in there if you want to, and you can wait until you come back. But if you could at least fill that out, that would be wonderful. So thank you, Wendy, because that just made it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna almost be like the little, maybe while we're waiting for the plane, it's like, okay, this is what I would like for you to do. So,
It's a great party favor.
and you're right about that. And you're right. You're right. It could be like a pre-trip little party for all of us to get together because we're going to be traveling together for maybe about 8 days. And this is my little gift to all of you.
Yeah,
So I liked it. See, sometimes you just have to do things a little different, but you're also helping somebody organize their life, but also their health and medical information on the journey. So, Wendy, thank you so much. These conversations have been wonderful. And of course, everybody watching, there are four. This the one, our moms, their health, our bodies, our health, our daughters, their health, and of course this one. And of course, if you're interested in any of the products, all you have to do is click the links below because they have created one for every single generation. And of course, be sure to share this information with your family and your friends and all of those who could truly organize their health and medical information. Well, again, thank you, Dr. Wendy, and of course,
Janet.
thank all of you for watching and continue to have a great day.